We are picking up where we left off. We finished Volga's chapter, and today we're going to start Pequeña's chapter. If you remember, Pequeña is the girl, she's 17, and she was starting to go into labor. And Volga and Chico were on their way to see her, but then they got kind of grossed out by labor and delivery, and they are on their way to get a drink from the store. And now we're actually going to get to hear firsthand from Pequeña in this chapter. The thing inside me, the thing I've been ignoring and denying and wishing gone, wants to kill me. It's terrible and vengeful. I've surrounded it in a sack of resentment all these months, and now it's going to make me pay. Another wave of pain floods my body. I can't, I tell Mommy and Tia Consuelo. I can't do it. I close my eyes and try to escape. Okay, there's that concept again. Escape. Try to ride that pain into another world. Let it lead me to a door where I can slip into another existence. I'm aware of this now, the way I can change reality, create new ones, pass through imaginary doors into new worlds, even though I always had it in me. Where are you? I try to conjure up La Bruja, my angel, who showed me those doors exist, who takes me through them. I think back to the first time she appeared to me, when Poppy was still around and we'd gone to Rio Dolce together as a family for my 6th birthday. Mommy and Poppy were fighting because Poppy was looking at every woman in a swimsuit who passed by. They didn't notice when I went to the cliff, climbed up those rocks, and walked to the edge. Nobody was around, and I looked up at the sun, closed my eyes, and I leaned forward. I let myself fall, a long fall that made my stomach flutter. I waited for the feel of water, and it came, cold and fast and crushing. Then the world went dim and silent as my head hit something sharp and hard. I was underwater forever, watching the surface and light slip farther and farther away. And that's when I saw her coming up from the depths of the water. Her dazzling eyes, her rippling hair, her skeleton-like hands. She stared at me, and I could not look away from those eyes. I felt us rising together, her stare lifting me, up from the depths of the water, from the darkness, higher, faster, bubbles rushing past us, between us. Something that's interesting here is the sentence structure. We know that the fancy word for sentence structure is syntax. And if you notice, we'll have a series of long, flowy sentences, and then they're interrupted by these short, choppy sentences. And I want you to think about what is the effect of that. I can almost see those bubbles now. I can hear the gurgle of them. In a moment, the darkness will turn blurry, blue, and she will be there, rising up to whisk me away from this too. Pequeña, Mommy says. That's it, just my name. But it cuts through the darkness and I'm back in the small, cramped bedroom she and I share. The wardrobe in the corner that held my father's clothes once, until Mommy sold them. The dresser in front of me so I can see Donna Agostina's hunched back in the mirror on top. Tia Consuelo standing next to her. Mommy on the other side of Tia, saying my name. My body seizes and is gripped by pain. The baby demands to be recognized. Push now, Pequeña, a little push, not too hard, Donna Agostina tells me. I do what she says, and then again and again and again I push and push and push. Hours pass. The baby doesn't want to come out. I imagine it holding onto my ribs, refusing to be born, refusing to dislodge from me. I imagine myself an old woman, my belly large, the child inside swirling around forever, reminding me of its presence, refusing to let me go. Almost, Donna Agostina says, almost. I hear Mommy's voice choked with emotion, saying she sees the baby's head, and I cry harder because her voice sounds like betrayal to me. I don't want her to want this child. I want her to not want it as much as I do. Would she love it so much if she knew? I long for her to ask me where it came from, but I can't bear for her to ask me. She's come close a few times. I've seen the question in her eyes. I've seen it on the tip of her tongue, but I always look away. The words never come. It's not that she wouldn't understand. It's not it. Mommy thinks of herself as una mujer moderna, and she is a modern woman, especially compared to the grandmother who raised her. Mommy's abuela had been so old-fashioned she lashed her when she found dried bloodstains on her underwear at age 13, assuming it was loss of her virginity, not her first period. Como sufrí pequeña, she told me so many times. I never wanted you to suffer the way I did. Mommy had suffered as a little girl, then as a wife, and then as a mother when I tore her body and was delivered into this world. And now, if the truth were to escape my lips, I would make her suffer more. My words would be like those lashings on her back. My words like my father's betrayal. If she knew, Mommy would load the gun Poppy left us in that wardrobe. If she knew, she would kill. And that kind of killing only brings more. We would all be dead. Though maybe that would be better. Now, Pequeña, push with all your strength. Todo tu fuerza. Donna Augustina tells me. Keep pushing, keep pushing. Push, Pequeña, Mommy repeats. She's kneeling next to me, her arms wrapped around my shoulders. She's smoothing my hair and kissing my forehead. Eres fuerte, Pequeña, so very strong here. And I'm here with you. We'll do this together, like everything. Don't lose your strength now. She's holding me tight, as if she's trying to transfer her own strength to me. But all I want is to melt into Mommy's arms. All I want is for us to melt into one being and escape out of here, slip from this reality to one where magical witches and angels exist. I want to take her with me, the two of us together, to where we would emerge from water and descend from sky. Here it comes, Donna Augustina's old voice calls out. Here it comes. I shake my head and sob harder. No, I don't want it. I don't want it. Almost be here. But I hear Mommy's voice, her crying voice, as something emerges from between my legs, slippery and warm and wet, and I feel a coldness around me as Mommy lets go, as she rushes to that baby. The baby cries loud and angry, and Mommy and Tia Consuelo hug and laugh their joy too loud in that small room. Look at your niño, Donna Agustina tells me. I shake my head and close my eyes as she holds the small red baby to my chest. She puts the wriggling thing there, and his small body feels so warm against mine, but I can't look at him. I shut my eyes tighter, cry harder. I won't look at him. I won't hold him, no matter how much he cries. Donna Augustina lifts him off my chest. A boy. I don't know what's worse, a boy or a girl. A name, Pequeña, Mommy says. What will we call him? Mommy's voice is higher than usual. The boy lets out more cries, so loud it drowns out Mommy's voice, and she laughs, saying something about how strong he is. Tia Consuelo comes to my side, squeezes my hand and kisses it. Pequeña, mi amor, you did it, and he's beautiful. Look at him, your son, she says. What will we call him? Look at him. Their voices are full, swelling, uncontainable. I listen to my own thoughts instead as they whisper. We'll call him nothing. He is not real. Mommy and Tia Consuelo's voices get louder, trying to keep me in that room, but I'm looking for an escape. I look out the window at the brightness of the sun. I stare into it until my head feels full of light. I close my eyes, and there I find it, the imaginary door, the one that leads me somewhere else to another world. I can hear the water rushing, cascading all around me as I stand on rocks and fling my body into the air, leaping toward beautiful water. My body is free and light and mine, just mine. I plunge into the water clear and cold, washing away everything, all memory, all blame, all pain. The child cries. My eyes flutter open. Against my will, as if his cries demand I stay here in this reality. No, I answer, and I picture the water again, see myself submerged in it, the sun cutting through it, the world a beautiful, bright blur. He cries. I focus on the water, only the water. When I open my eyes again, the water has followed me here. It floods the floor and trickles like sweat from the walls, and I take a breath, sweet and full of relief. Mommy has the child, and Tia stands next to her, looking down at him in Mommy's arms. They are both oblivious to the water lapping around their ankles. When they open their mouths to speak, to coo at the baby, to laugh, water trickles from their mouths too, like faucets. In moments, the water reaches their knees, then their waists. Their skirts billow out around them like fancy monoquitas. I feel my bed become dislodged from the floor. I feel it lift and float as the water continues filling the room. You see, this too is a dream. This child, you, everything, it's not real, my mind whispers. How precious, Tia Consuelo says. Beautiful, says Mommy. A wave comes crashing into the doorway of the bedroom and hits the bureau where Mommy keeps her belongings. Perfume bottles and talcum powder, needles and thread, a thimble, shiny hair clips and brooches she wears on very special occasions. I watch them as they're carried away in the water, floating and circling around us. The water circles around Mommy and Tia and the baby like a gentle whirlpool. It lifts them and swirls them all out of the room. Someone is gently patting my head. A faraway voice is getting louder in my ears. Don't worry, Pequeña, I hear. And I think maybe it is her, my angel. But then I recognize Donna Augustina's voice. When I look her way, she is unfazed by the water, unfazed by the sudden disappearance of Mommy, Tia, and that baby. She smiles before another wave comes in and pulls her out of the door, too. I float on the bed. like someone lost at sea. The sound of water becomes louder as it rushes faster out of the walls, drips from the ceiling as though from the skies. My mind begins to swirl fast like the water, like the bed, and I become dizzy and nauseated by the smell in that room, the smell of birth, of warm blood, of my body and my insides. I'm caught in between and I have to get out. I focus on a crack on the ceiling and concentrate. I watch as it splits up and filling the room with sunlight like the bright yolk of an egg. The water rushes me upward then and through the open roof, and then I too am carried away on a wave as the water gushes out of the house and onto the dirt road. I'm rushed away on my floating bed. I'm laughing as the streets fill with water. I turn back and see Mommy on our front patio waving at me, anxiously calling me back and the baby in her arms. Pequeña, Pequeña! Something startles me back into the room. When my eyes flutter open this time, Donna Agustina is standing next to me, holding smelling salts under my nose. You fainted, my love. Drink some water, she says. She holds a cup to my lips and I take a small sip. The wetness is shockingly cold and I feel myself tethered back to reality as she puts the cup in my hand and begins to massage my stomach, all the while telling me I will be all right. Everything will be all right. Her large hands grind my stomach like she's mixing masa. It hurts, but I don't care. I just want to feel normal again, not empty and hollowed out. I want to forget that my body ever housed anything. I concentrate on the cracks in the ceiling. Imagine myself being lifted and carried away again. The images of water and sun and rushing through the streets flicker in my mind. But I stay where I am, trapped. A couple things to talk about in this piece right here is definitely something that we started to see a little bit in the previous chapter, and that's definitely the concept of escape. So we see that she begins by talking about escape, but that the way that she ends the chapter with just the word trapped is important. There's also a lot of water imagery in this. I'm a terrible artist, but I'll draw some waves here. And we have to think there are both positive and negative connotations that can form symbols whenever it comes to water. So when we're thinking about the positives and the negatives, one negative that we see with water is drowning. And then a positive we can see is being clean. Also, when it comes to water, we know that flooding is a negative. But whenever we think about the positive part of water, then we can think we actually need water for survival. And with that flooding comes the symbol of tears. So we could also see flooding as being a means of moving water. And so again, if we escape by sea, we see it as a means of transportation. So we're kind of caught between the positives and the negatives of water. We also learn a lot about Pequeña in this piece and really try to think about, based on what she says, based on her thoughts, what can we sort of infer about the kind of person that she is? And obviously, Pequeña has been through something because she doesn't say a lot, but she thinks a lot. And in her thoughts, we can see that she's been through quite a bit, and it's not all positive. This is also the first chapter where she introduces us to her angel. And you'll see that angel come into play a little bit later in the book as well. So this is where we're going to end this chapter today. And I'll see you whenever we start the next chapter.